You're halfway through a conversation, and your mind's already racing to what you'll say next. Someone's talking about their rough day, but you're nodding on autopilot, crafting a clever response or a story to top theirs. This is the first emotional trap. Listening to respond instead of to understand. It's not malicious. It's just a habit we fall into, trained to keep conversations flowing. But when we focus on our reply, we miss the heart of what's being shared. The quiver in their voice, the pause before a tough word. Those carry the real story. Psychologically, listening to understand builds trust. Studies in active listening show it creates a sense of safety, signaling, I'm here for you, not my own agenda. For example, imagine a friend venting about a bad boss. Instead of jumping in with, oh, I had a boss like that, try asking, what's been the toughest part of dealing with them? It shifts the focus to their experience. Next time you're in a conversation, catch yourself if you're planning your words. Pause. Let their thoughts land fully. Ask a simple, open question to draw them out. You'll notice the conversation deepens, like a door swinging open. This trap is subtle, but it's everywhere. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Your coworker lands a big client, and a quiet pang hits you. Their win feels like it dims your own chances. That's the second trap, assuming life is a zero-sum game. It's the belief that success, attention, or resources are limited, so someone else's gain is your loss. This mindset creeps into friendships, work, even family. When your sibling gets praise or a colleague gets a raise, you might feel you're falling behind. Psychologically, zero-sum thinking fuels envy and competition. Research on organizational behavior shows it reduces collaboration as people hoard credit or opportunities. But life isn't always a fixed pie. Imagine two freelancers pitching for a project. If they compete, one wins, one loses. If they team up, they might land a bigger gig together. That's a positive sum mindset where everyone can gain. Try this. When you feel that sting of comparison, ask, how can we both shine here? Maybe you congratulate your coworker and offer to brainstorm their next step. It's a small shift, but it rewires scarcity into possibility. The pie can grow. You just have to rethink how it's sliced. Your kid brings home a great report card, and you say, "You're so smart." It feels good, but here's the trap. Praising outcomes over effort. Focusing on the result, a high grade, a polished presentation, ties someone's worth to their achievements. When they struggle, they might feel their value slips. Carol Dweck's work on growth mindset shows praising effort fosters resilience. If a teammate nails a project, saying, "You put in serious work to pull that off," highlights their process, not just their talent. It tells them they can grow even through setbacks. For example, a student who studied hard but got a B feels seen when you say, "I'm proud of how you tackled those late-night study sessions." Next time you're tempted to praise a win, spotlight the hustle instead. "I can see how much you practiced for this." It's a subtle change that builds confidence without the pressure to always be perfect. You snap at a partner during a stressful day, and when they call you out, you're quick to explain, "I was tired," or "You misunderstood me." This is defending yourself before owning your part, a trap that stalls growth and connection. It's natural to want to protect yourself, but doubling down blocks understanding. In conflict resolution, owning your role first, even a small piece, changes the dynamic. Psychologically, it triggers reciprocity, making others more likely to meet you halfway. Picture a team meeting where you cut someone off. Instead of saying, "I was just excited," try, I realize I interrupted you, and that wasn't fair. It's not about groveling. It's about showing you're open to accountability. Try this. In your next disagreement, lead with what you could have done better, even if it's minor. I should have checked in before deciding. It's humbling, but it turns walls into bridges, making conflicts less about winning and more about understanding. A friend says, "I'm drowning in work." And you jump in with, "Have you tried a to-do app? Maybe delegate something?" It's well-meaning, but it's the trap of offering fixes before feeling. When someone shares a struggle, they often need to be heard more than they need solutions. Psychologically, validating emotions first lowers stress and builds trust. Studies on empathy show that mirroring someone's feelings, like saying, "That sounds overwhelming," helps them feel understood, making them more open to advice later. Imagine a coworker venting about a missed deadline instead of, "Just talk to your boss." Try, "That must feel so frustrating." It's not parroting, it's showing you get their emotional reality. Next time someone opens up, pause and name their emotion before suggesting anything. It sounds like you're carrying a lot. You'll see them relax, and any fixes you offer later will land better. Connection first, solutions second. You've got that go-to joke, maybe a sarcastic quip or a pun you know gets laughs. You drop it in every group chat or meeting and it works, until it doesn't. This is recycling old humor, a trap that dulls your presence. Familiarity breeds comfort, but it also breeds predictability. Psychologically, humor relies on novelty. Our brains tune out repetition through a process called habituation, making old jokes feel flat. Fresh humor, tied to the moment, keeps connections alive. For example, instead of your usual "I need coffee to survive" line, riff on something specific, like the weird office coffee machine that gurgles like it's possessed. It's not about being a stand-up comic. It's about staying present. Next time you reach for that tired line, stop. Look around for a small, unique detail to play with. It keeps conversations vibrant and shows you're really there, not just running a script. You're chatting with a friend, and your phone lights up. It's just a quick glance at a text, but the moment shifts. You're not fully there anymore. This trap, prioritizing pings over presence, is woven into our tech-heavy lives. Every notification pulls you away, even if you don't open it. Psychologically, distractions create attention residue, where your mind lingers on that email or alert, fragmenting your focus. Studies show people feel more valued when you give them undivided attention, even briefly. Imagine you're at dinner and your phone buzzes. Silencing it for 15 minutes sends a signal. You matter more than my screen. Try this. In your next conversation, mute notifications or set your phone aside. Notice how it feels to lock in. It's not about cutting tech out of your life. It's about choosing the person in front of you. That choice builds deeper trust, one moment at a time. Your team pulls off a big project, and you're quick to say, "I led that strategy." But when something flops, you point to someone else's mistake. This is taking credit, dodging fault, a trap that quietly erodes trust. It feels good to bask in success, but sidestepping responsibility creates distance. Psychologically, sharing praise and owning mistakes builds social capital. Research on leadership shows that saying, "We crushed this together," boosts team morale, while "I dropped the ball here" earns respect. For instance, if a presentation tanks, saying, "I should have double-checked the data," sets a tone of accountability. Try this. Next time something goes right, call out someone else's contribution first. If it goes wrong, name your role in the mess. It's not about self-blame. It's about showing fairness. People trust those who share the highs and own the lows. Your friend's going through a breakup, and you say, "Let me know if you need anything." It's heartfelt, but it's also a trap, offering kindness without action. Vague promises put the burden on them to ask, which feels like another hurdle when they're already down. Psychologically, specific offers reduce social friction, making help easier to accept. Studies on social support show concrete gestures like, "I'll bring you dinner tomorrow," or "Want to grab coffee this weekend?" feel more genuine. They show you're paying attention to their needs. For example, if a colleague's stressed, don't just say, "I'm here." Offer, "Can I take notes for you in tomorrow's meeting?" Next time someone's struggling, skip the open-ended offer. Suggest something tangible, even small. It turns kindness into impact, and they'll feel supported without having to ask. You're grinding through a packed day, telling yourself, "I'll rest when this is done." But the finish line keeps moving, and you're exhausted. This is treating rest as a reward, a trap that wears you down. Rest isn't something you earn. It's a tool to keep you sharp. Psychologically, cognitive fatigue impairs focus and decision-making. Research shows short breaks, like a 10-minute walk or a screen-free moment, boost productivity and creativity. For example, a programmer who steps away mid-code might return with a clearer solution. Try scheduling rest proactively, not as a treat for finishing. Set a timer for a 5-minute stretch every hour, or take a quiet coffee break before you're drained. It's not about slacking, it's about sustainability. Reframe rest as part of your process, and you'll work better, not harder. You're busy all day, emails, meetings, errands, but by night, you feel like you got nowhere. This is mistaking motion for progress, a trap where activity tricks you into thinking you're moving forward. Busyness feels productive, but it's often just noise. Psychologically, our brains crave the dopamine hit of checking off small tasks, even trivial ones. Studies on productivity show that focusing on high-impact goals, like finishing a key report, beats scattering energy on low-value tasks like reorganizing your desk. Try this. Start your day by picking 1 or 2 priorities that truly matter. Ask, what will move the needle most? If you're a student, maybe it's outlining an essay over answering every email. Motion keeps you spinning. Progress moves you forward. Choose the latter, and you'll feel the difference by day's end. You're still chasing a goal you set years ago, a career path, a lifestyle, or a version of yourself that no longer fits. This trap, holding on to expired expectations, keeps you tethered to a past self. It's like wearing shoes you've outgrown. They pinch, but you keep walking. Psychologically, clinging to outdated goals creates cognitive dissonance, a tension between who you are and who you think you should be. Research on self-concept shows that updating your aspirations, like shifting from a corporate job to freelancing, can boost well-being. Reflect on a goal you're chasing. Ask, does this still light me up? If not, it might be time to let go. For example, maybe you dreamed of being a doctor, but now teaching feels more alive. Letting go isn't failure. It's making space for what fits now. Check in with your expectations and give yourself permission to evolve. Someone cuts you off in traffic and you think, they're so selfish. Or a friend cancels plans and you label them flaky. This is judging the feeling, not the behavior, a trap that clouds your perspective. It's assuming you know someone's inner world based on their actions. Psychologically, this is called the fundamental attribution error. We overestimate someone's character and underestimate their circumstances. Maybe the driver was rushing to an emergency, or your friend canceled because they're overwhelmed. Try focusing on the behavior. They cut me off, or they canceled again. Then get curious. Maybe ask, is everything okay? Instead of assuming the worst. This shift keeps your reactions fairer and your relationships stronger. Judging feelings locks you in assumptions. Judging behavior keeps you open to the truth. You've got an idea, a side project, a new hobby, but you're waiting for the right moment, the right skills, or someone's approval. This trap, waiting for permission to start, keeps you stuck on the sidelines. It's the belief that you need an external green light to move forward. Psychologically, this stems from fear of failure or rejection, which can paralyze action. Research on self-efficacy shows that starting small, like writing one paragraph of a novel, builds confidence through doing. Imagine wanting to start a blog. Instead of waiting to know enough, post one short piece. Try this. Pick something you've been delaying. Do one tiny step today, like sketching an idea or signing up for a class. You don't need a perfect plan or a mentor's nod. Permission comes from starting, and starting comes from you. In a heated discussion, you nod along to keep the peace, even if you don't fully get the other person's point. This is confusing agreement with understanding, a trap that short-circuits real connection. Agreeing to move on feels easier, but it skips the deeper work of seeing each other. Psychologically, understanding requires cognitive empathy, grasping someone's perspective without necessarily endorsing it. Studies show this reduces conflict and builds trust. For example, in a debate about politics, you might say, "I see why you feel that way, given your experience, even if you disagree." It shows you're listening, not just waiting to counter. Try this. Next time you're tempted to nod and move on, ask a clarifying question like, "Can you explain what makes that so important to you?" It's not about conceding. It's about building a bridge to their world. You're replaying that moment a friend let you down, waiting for their apology to make it right. Maybe they ghosted you, or a coworker took credit for your idea. You think closure will free you, but this trap, chasing closure instead of acceptance, keeps you stuck. Waiting for someone else to tie up the loose ends hands them control over your peace. Psychologically, closure-seeking prolongs emotional distress because it depends on external actions, which are unpredictable. Research on emotional regulation, like studies from the Journal of Positive Psychology, shows acceptance, acknowledging what happened without needing resolution, reduces stress. Picture a colleague who dismissed your input. Instead of hoping for their regret, try thinking, "That hurt, but I'm moving forward." It's not about excusing them. It's about reclaiming your headspace. Next time you're hung up on someone's actions, write down what you can accept as done and one step you can take, like focusing on a new project. Acceptance isn't giving up. It's choosing to let go with strength. Your siblings stressed about their job, and you don't just listen. You feel their anxiety like it's yours. You're up at night worrying for them, trying to solve their problems. This is overloading empathy with ownership, a trap where you take on others' emotions as your own. Empathy should connect you, not consume you. Psychologically, this happens when boundaries blur, often from a desire to feel needed. Studies on compassion fatigue, like those in nursing research, show that absorbing others' pain leads to burnout. If a friend vents about a bad day, you can say, "That sounds so tough," without carrying their frustration home. Try this. When someone shares a struggle, imagine holding a space for their feelings, like a container, not a sponge. Ask, "What would help you most right now?" It keeps you supportive without losing yourself. Empathy is a gift. Don't let it become a weight. You start running to get fit, expecting to improve weekly. But some days you're slower, or you skip a session, and it feels like you're failing. This trap, expecting linear progress, assumes growth is a straight line. Real change is more like a jagged graph, full of dips and plateaus. Psychologically, our brains amplify setbacks due to negativity bias, making us overlook small wins. Research on habit formation, like James Clear's work, shows consistency trumps perfection. If you're learning guitar and fumble a chord, don't think, "I'm terrible." Instead, say, "I practiced for 10 minutes today." Picture a writer revising a messy draft. It's not failure, it's refining. Try tracking one tiny step daily, like "I ran for 5 minutes" or "I wrote 1 sentence." Ask, "What did I learn today?" Progress isn't a ladder. It's a winding trail, and every step counts. Your manager says your presentation could use clearer slides, and you hear, "I'm not good enough." This is filtering feedback through ego, a trap that turns constructive input into a personal attack. It makes you defensive, shutting down growth before it starts. Psychologically, ego-driven reactions stem from self-protection, but they block learning. Studies on feedback, like those in organizational psychology, show that focusing on the task, not your worth, makes criticism actionable. If a teammate suggests rephrasing your email, don't think, "They think I'm incompetent." Ask, "How could I make it clearer?" Try this. When feedback stings, pause and jot down one specific improvement, like add visuals to slides. Reframe it as a chance to level up, not a judgment. Feedback is a map, not a verdict. Use it to navigate, not to hide. You're thinking about a career change, but you need to know it'll work out before you leap. You research endlessly, waiting for a perfect plan. This trap, seeking certainty before action, keeps you frozen. Life rarely offers guarantees, and waiting for them stalls your momentum. Psychologically, our brains crave predictability, but research on decision-making, like Daniel Kahneman's work, shows acting with incomplete information builds adaptability. Imagine wanting to launch a podcast. You can't predict success, but recording one episode tests the waters. Try this. For a decision you're overthinking, pick one small step, like emailing a mentor or sketching an idea. Ask, "What's the smallest move I can make today?" Action doesn't need certainty. It creates clarity. Start small, and the path will unfold. You think back to your old job or high school days sighing, "Things were so much better." The stress and doubts fade, leaving only golden memories. This is romanticizing the past, a trap that makes today feel lackluster. Nostalgia can be sweet, but it distorts reality. Psychologically, rosy retrospection biases us to overvalue past positives, as memory studies show, lowering present satisfaction. If you miss your old hometown, remember the boring weekends, not just the fun nights out. Try this. When nostalgia hits, list 3 things you're grateful for now, like a new friend or a skill you've gained. For example, "I love my current book club." It anchors you in today. The past wasn't perfect. It was just different. Focus on making now your new favorite chapter. You meet a new neighbor who seems standoffish, and you decide they're not your type. This trap, overvaluing first impressions, locks you into quick judgments that miss the bigger picture. People's first moments are often shaped by nerves or context, not their true selves. Psychologically, the primacy effect makes initial encounters stick, but they're rarely the full story. Research on social perception shows first impressions can mislead, like assuming a quiet colleague is cold when they're just shy. Try this. After meeting someone, note your first take, then look for one contradicting trait later. They seemed curt, but they offered me coffee. If a new classmate seems aloof, give them a second chat. People unfold over time. Don't judge the book by its cover. Your partner comes home quiet and you think, they're upset with me. Or a friend skips your party and you assume they don't care. This is assuming intent without evidence. A trap where you fill in blanks with your own insecurities. You're writing their story without checking the facts. Psychologically, this is attribution bias, where we guess motives without data. Studies on communication show asking directly, like, "You seem quiet, everything okay?" clears misunderstandings faster. Try this. When you're guessing someone's intent, list what you know, they didn't reply, versus what you're assuming, they're mad. Then ask a neutral question, like, "Haven't heard back, busy week?" It keeps you curious, not defensive, and saves relationships from imagined slights. You're nervous about a big meeting and want to admit it, but you stay silent, fearing it'll make you look fragile. This trap, equating vulnerability with weakness, stifles authenticity. Showing your real self isn't a flaw. It's a strength that builds trust. Psychologically, vulnerability fosters connection, as Brené Brown's research shows. When a manager says, "I'm unsure about this strategy," it invites honest input, not judgment. Imagine telling a friend, "I'm struggling to keep up." It opens a real conversation. Try this. Share one honest moment this week, like, "I'm feeling stretched thin." Notice how others respond, often with empathy, not criticism. Vulnerability isn't a crack in your armor. It's a doorway to deeper bonds. You end the day feeling empty because you didn't finish your to-do list. No checked boxes, no value. This is measuring worth by output, a trap that ties your self-esteem to productivity. It's a relentless cycle that leaves you feeling like you're never enough. Psychologically, this stems from a culture equating busyness with worth, but studies on well-being show that valuing traits like kindness or curiosity boosts resilience. If you only answered a few emails, note what else you brought, like patience with a coworker. Try this. At day's end, write one non-task thing you value about yourself, like, "I stayed calm under pressure." Your worth isn't your output. It's the person you bring to every moment. You sidestep a tense topic with a friend to avoid an argument, even if it's eating at you. This trap, avoiding conflict to keep peace, seems like harmony, but builds resentment. Suppressing issues doesn't resolve them. It buries them. Psychologically, conflict avoidance stems from fear of rejection, but research on relationships shows that addressing issues respectfully strengthens bonds. If a roommate keeps leaving dishes out, saying, "Can we talk about splitting chores?" opens a path to fairness. Try this. When you're dodging a tough talk, start with a calm opener, like, "I've noticed something bothering me. Can we chat?" It's not about fighting. It's about clarity. Healthy conflict isn't a rupture. It's a reset. You map out every detail of a project or trip, leaving no room for surprises. This trap, over-planning for control, feels safe, but stifles flexibility. Life's unpredictability can't be scripted, and trying to do so drains your energy. Psychologically, over-planning ties to anxiety about uncertainty, but studies on resilience show that adaptability trumps rigidity. If you're planning a vacation, set a loose itinerary instead of a minute-by-minute schedule. Try this. For your next task, plan the big steps, but leave gaps for spontaneity. Ask, "What's one thing I can let unfold?" If a meeting goes off script, roll with it. Control is an illusion. Embracing flow makes you stronger. You brush off a sunny morning or a kind text, thinking, it's no big deal. This trap, dismissing small joys, robs you of life's quiet, bright spots. Small moments aren't trivial. They're fuel for happiness. Psychologically, savoring micro joys boosts well-being, as positive psychology research shows. A quick laugh with a coworker or a perfect coffee can shift your mood. Try this. Notice one small joy daily, like the smell of rain or a favorite song. Pause for 10 seconds to soak it in. Write it down if you can, like, loved the sunset's colors today. These moments stack up, turning ordinary days into richer ones. Don't wait for big wins. Small joys are the heartbeat of a good life. You scroll social media, seeing perfect vacations or polished careers, and feel you're falling short. This is comparing your insides to others' outsides, a trap where you measure your messy reality against curated highlights. It's an unfair fight. Psychologically, social comparison distorts self-perception, as studies on social media show. Others' posts skip the struggles you know too well. If a friend's promotion stings, remember you don't see their late nights or doubts. Try this. When comparison hits, list 3 things you're proud of, like, I showed up despite stress. Limit scroll time and focus on your own path. Their highlight reel isn't your story. Write yours with honesty. You're still mad about that snarky comment a coworker made months ago. Holding on to it feels like a shield, but it's a trap. Holding grudges as protection. It doesn't guard you. It weighs you down. Psychologically, grudges increase stress hormones, as forgiveness studies show, while letting go boosts mental clarity. Forgiving doesn't mean excusing. It means freeing yourself. If a friend betrayed you, try thinking, I won't let this define me. Try this. Write down a grudge, then list one way to release it, like focusing on your own growth. I'm letting go to move forward. It's not for them. It's for you. A grudge is a chain. Forgiveness is the key. You tweak your words or style to win someone's nod, even if it feels off. This trap, seeking approval over authenticity, trades your truth for acceptance. It's a short-term win with a long-term cost. Psychologically, approval-seeking erodes self-esteem, as self-determination theory shows. Being true to yourself, like sharing an honest opinion, builds confidence. If you're tempted to agree just to fit in, try saying, I see it differently, and here's why. Try this. In one conversation this week, share a genuine thought like, I'm not sure, but I think. Notice how it feels to stand in your truth. Authenticity isn't loud, it's steady, and it draws the right people closer. You're exhausted, but push through another hour of work. Your gut says something's off, but you ignore it. This is ignoring your own cues, a trap where you override your body or instincts to keep going. It's like driving with a check engine light on. Psychologically, self-awareness reduces stress, as mindfulness studies show. Tuning into physical or emotional signals, like tiredness or unease, helps you act wisely. If you're hungry mid-meeting, grab a snack instead of powering through. Try this. Check in with yourself daily. Ask, what's my body or gut telling me? If you're tense, take 5 deep breaths. Your cues are signals, not noise. Listen, and you'll navigate life with more clarity. You're swamped with emails and errands, but the big stuff, your goals, your relationships, gets pushed aside. This trap, confusing busy with important, fills your day with noise while starving what matters. Busyness isn't a badge of honor. It's a distraction. Psychologically, our brains chase the dopamine of small tasks, but research on productivity shows prioritizing high-impact work drives real results. If you're a writer, drafting a chapter matters more than clearing your inbox. Try this. Each morning, pick one important task, like calling a loved one, and do it first. Ask, what moves my life forward? Busy keeps you spinning. Important keeps you growing. Choose what lasts. You're upset your partner didn't help with chores, but you never asked. This trap, expecting others to read your mind, breeds frustration. You assume they should know what you need, but unspoken expectations are a setup for disappointment. Psychologically, clear communication reduces conflict, as relationship studies show. Instead of hoping your friend guesses you're stressed, say, I could use a listener today. Try this. When you're annoyed someone missed your needs, pause and express one clearly, like, can you handle dinner tonight? It's not pushy, it's honest. People aren't psychics. Give them the script, and you'll both feel lighter. You stay in a draining job or a stale routine because it's known, even if it's miserable. This trap, clinging to familiar discomfort, prioritizes safety over growth. The devil you know feels easier than the unknown you don't. Psychologically, this ties to loss aversion, fearing what you might lose more than valuing what you could gain. Research on change shows small steps toward the new, like updating your resume, reduce fear. If a toxic friendship drains you, try setting one boundary, like limiting calls. Ask, what's one step toward something better? Try this. Identify one uncomfortable but familiar pattern, then take one action to shift it. Familiar isn't always good. Growth lives just beyond it. Your friend nods along with everything you say, and you take it as a sign of their devotion. But this trap, mistaking agreement for loyalty, confuses surface harmony with true support. Loyalty isn't about always agreeing. It's about standing by you, even when they don't. Psychologically, constant agreement can signal people-pleasing rather than genuine connection, as studies on authentic relationships show. A loyal friend might challenge your risky decision, like quitting a job impulsively because they care about your long-term well-being. Imagine debating a plan with a coworker. If they always say, you're right, you might miss critical feedback. Try this. When someone agrees too quickly, ask, what do you really think? Look for those who will be honest, not just compliant. Loyalty shows in truth, not echoes. Value the friends who speak up. You lie awake, replaying a decision from years ago, maybe a job you didn't take or a relationship you ended. This trap, overthinking past choices, keeps you stuck in a loop of what-ifs. The past is done, but your mind treats it like it's still negotiable. Psychologically, this is rumination, which amplifies regret, as studies in cognitive psychology show. You can't redo choosing college over travel, but you can learn from it. Ask, what did that choice teach me? Maybe it showed you resilience. Try this. When you're stuck on a past decision, write down one lesson it gave you, like, I learned to trust my gut. Then list one step forward, like exploring a new hobby. The past isn't a cage, it's a teacher. Let it guide you, not hold you. You tweak a project endlessly, aiming for flawless, hoping it'll earn you praise. This trap, seeking validation through perfection, ties your worth to impossible standards. Perfection isn't a path to approval, it's a treadmill that never stops. Psychologically, perfectionism often stems from fear of criticism, but research shows it reduces creativity and delays progress. A perfect email might take hours, but a good one sent promptly moves things forward. Imagine a painter obsessing over one stroke. they'd never finish the canvas. Try this. For your next task, set a good enough goal, like finishing a draft in 1 hour. Ask, is this effective, even if it's not perfect? Done is better than flawless, and your value shines through effort, not error-free work. A friend cancels plans, and you think, I must have done something wrong. Or a meeting goes poorly, and you blame yourself entirely. This trap, assuming you're the problem, makes you carry blame that isn't always yours. It's a reflex that clouds reality. Psychologically, this is linked to self-blame bias, where you internalize external issues, as seen in studies on self-esteem. Your friend might have canceled due to their own stress, not you. Try this. When you feel at fault, list 3 other possible reasons, like they're busy, distracted, or tired. Then check in gently. Missed you at lunch. Everything okay? It shifts you from guilt to curiosity. You're not always the cause. Sometimes you're just part of someone else's story. Your inbox pings, and you drop everything to respond, even if it's trivial. This trap, overvaluing urgency, prioritizes what's loud over what's important. Not every urgent task deserves your immediate attention. Psychologically, urgency triggers a stress response, making small tasks feel critical, as research on time management shows. Answering a non-essential email can wait if you're working on a key project. Imagine a teacher stopping a lesson for every notification. They'd never teach. Try this. When something feels urgent, pause and ask, will this matter tomorrow? If not, schedule it for later. Protect your focus for what truly drives your goals. Urgency is a signal, not a master. You're still the fixer in your family, solving everyone's problems, even though it drains you. This trap, holding onto expired roles, keeps you playing parts that no longer fit. Roles from the past, like the peacemaker or the overachiever, can outstay their welcome. Psychologically, this ties to identity rigidity, where old self-concepts block growth, as studies on self-identity show. If you're always the responsible one, try stepping back and letting others handle things. Imagine a sibling asking for advice. Say, I trust you to figure this out. Try this. Identify a role you play, like always available, and test one boundary, like saying no to a non-urgent favor. Roles aren't your identity. They're habits you can reshape. You micromanage a team project or obsess over a trip's details, thinking it'll prevent chaos. This trap, confusing control with safety, mistakes grip for security. Control can't eliminate uncertainty. It just exhausts you trying. Psychologically, excessive control is rooted in anxiety, but research on resilience shows flexibility reduces stress. If you're planning a group outing, set a meeting point and let the day unfold, rather than scripting every hour. Try this. For one situation, like a meeting, loosen your grip. Delegate one task or skip overplanning. Ask, what happens if I let go a little? Safety isn't in controlling every detail. It's in trusting your ability to adapt. You want to get fit or learn a skill, but big goals feel daunting, so you don't start. This trap, underestimating incremental change, dismisses the power of small steps. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. Tiny moves add up. Psychologically, the compounding effect of small actions drives lasting change, as habit research like BJ Fogg shows. Running 5 minutes daily can lead to a marathon. Writing one sentence can spark a book. Try this. Pick a goal and break it into a 2-minute daily action, like doing one push-up or jotting one idea. Ask, what's the smallest step I can take? Incremental isn't slow, it's sustainable. Start small, and watch big things grow. Your friend's running a startup, so you feel behind with your steady job. This trap, judging yourself by others' metrics, measures your life against someone else's ruler. Their path isn't your blueprint. Psychologically, social comparison distorts self-worth, as studies on well-being show. Your friend's startup might thrill them but stress you out. Define success by your values, maybe stability or creativity. Try this. Write down one goal that feels true to you, like, I want to learn coding for fun. When comparison creeps in, refocus on it. Ask, what matters to me? Your life isn't a race against others. It's a journey only you can chart. You fill every pause in a conversation with chatter or check your phone during a quiet moment. This trap, avoiding silence for comfort, dodges the power of stillness. Silence isn't awkward. It's where clarity often lives. Psychologically, silence boosts reflection and emotional processing, as mindfulness studies show. A quiet pause with a friend can deepen connection more than words. Try this. In your next conversation, let a pause linger for 5 seconds before speaking. Or spend 2 minutes alone without distractions, noticing your thoughts. Ask, what comes up when I'm still? Silence isn't empty. It's a space to hear yourself and others more clearly. You pack your day with tasks, thinking a full schedule means a meaningful life. This trap, equating busyness with purpose, mistakes motion for meaning. A crowded calendar doesn't guarantee a fulfilled heart. Psychologically, busyness can mask a lack of direction, as studies on burnout show. Purpose comes from aligning actions with what matters, like family or growth, not just filling time. If you're rushing between meetings, pause to ask, is this moving me toward what I value? Try this. Cut one low-value task this week, like an unnecessary email, and spend that time on something meaningful, like calling a loved one. Purpose isn't how much you do, it's why you do it. You work hard on a project, but someone else gets the credit. You feel cheated, thinking life should balance out. This trap, expecting fairness in every outcome, sets you up for resentment. Life isn't a ledger that always evens out. Psychologically, fairness bias makes us overestimate how much control we have over outcomes, as justice research shows. You can't make every boss fair, but you can advocate for yourself. Try this. When something feels unfair, focus on what you can control, like documenting your work or speaking up calmly. Ask, what's my next step? Fairness is a hope, not a guarantee. Your power lies in how you respond. You feel grateful for a friend's help, but now you think you owe them big time. This trap, overloading gratitude with obligation, turns appreciation into a debt. Gratitude should lift you, not bind you. Psychologically, gratitude enhances well-being when it's free of strings, as positive psychology shows. If a neighbor drives you to an appointment, you don't need to match their gesture. A heartfelt thank you is enough. Try this. Next time you're grateful, express it simply, like, I really appreciate your support. If you feel obligated, ask, am I adding pressure to this? Gratitude is a gift, not a transaction. Keep it light and true. You keep pushing on a failing project, thinking quitting is weak. This trap, confusing persistence with stubbornness, traps you in sunk costs. Sticking it out isn't always strength. Sometimes it's refusal to pivot. Psychologically, the sunk cost fallacy keeps us invested in losing bets, as behavioral economics shows. If a business idea isn't working, shifting to a new approach isn't failure, it's strategy. Try this. For a stuck goal, ask, is this still serving me? If not, list one way to pivot, like trying a new skill instead. Persistence is about purpose, not pride. Know when to stay and when to turn. You're restless, so you buy a new gadget or plan a trip, hoping it'll fill the void. This trap, seeking external fixes for internal gaps, chases surface solutions for deeper needs. No purchase or change of scenery can resolve inner unease. Psychologically, external fixes provide fleeting dopamine hits, but studies on happiness show lasting fulfillment comes from internal work, like reflection or connection. If you feel empty, try journaling about what's missing instead of shopping. Try this. When you want to fix a feeling with something external, pause and ask, what do I really need? Maybe it's a talk with a friend. Inner gaps need inner work. Start there. You say no to an invite, then launch into a long justification. Work, stress, anything to soften it. This trap, over-explaining your choices, comes from fearing judgment. You don't owe everyone a full defense of your decisions. Psychologically, over-explaining signals low self-assertion, as communication studies show. A simple, I can't make it, but thanks, is enough. Imagine declining a meeting. Say, I'm booked, not a saga about your schedule. Try this. Next time you say no, keep it short and kind, then stop. Ask, am I explaining to clarify or to please? Your choices are yours. Own them with quiet confidence. You trip in public and feel like all eyes are judging you. Or you hesitate to speak up, thinking everyone's analyzing your words. This trap, assuming everyone's watching, is the spotlight effect in action. Most people are too focused on themselves to obsess over you. Psychologically, the spotlight effect exaggerates how much others notice us, as social psychology research shows. If you flub a line in a presentation, most forget it quickly. Try this. When you feel watched, remind yourself, they're caught up in their own world. Take one bold action, like sharing an idea, and notice how little judgment comes. You're not the center of their universe. You're free to be you. You plan to start a project but wait for the right mood to feel inspired. This trap, waiting for motivation to strike, keeps you stalled. Motivation isn't a spark you wait for. It's a fire you build. Psychologically, action often precedes motivation, as habit research shows. Writing one sentence can spark the urge to write more. If you're delaying exercise, try putting on your sneakers. That alone can kickstart momentum. Try this. For a task you're avoiding, do one 2-minute step, like opening a document. Ask, what's the tiniest start? Motivation grows from doing, not dreaming. Take the first step, and it'll follow. You hear a colleague's strong take on a trend and take it as truth without checking. This trap, valuing opinions over facts, lets loud voices outweigh evidence. Opinions are guesses. Facts are anchors. Psychologically, we're swayed by confident delivery due to the halo effect, as persuasion studies show. If someone claims a diet works, look at data, not their passion. Try this. When you hear a bold opinion, pause and ask, what's the evidence? Check one source, like a study or report, before deciding. If a friend swears by a productivity hack, test it yourself. Facts ground you. Opinions just pull. You bomb a job interview and think, I'll never get hired. This trap, treating setbacks as endings, turns temporary failures into permanent defeats. Setbacks are chapters, not the whole story. Psychologically, this is catastrophizing, which amplifies distress, as cognitive behavioral research shows. A failed pitch doesn't mean you're unhireable. It means you need practice. Try this. After a setback, list one thing you learned, like, I need to prep better. Then take one step forward, like scheduling a mock interview. Ask, what's my next move? Setbacks are detours, not dead ends. Keep driving. You stick to familiar routines, avoiding challenges that feel risky, like a new job or a tough conversation. This trap, seeking comfort over growth, prioritizes ease over progress. Comfort feels safe, but it can stunt your potential. Psychologically, growth requires discomfort. As studies on learning show, think of the effort it takes to master a skill. Staying in a cozy but stagnant job might feel good, but taking a course to pivot careers stretches you. Try this. Identify one uncomfortable step, like signing up for a workshop, and commit to it. Ask, what's one thing I'm avoiding that could push me forward? Growth isn't cozy, it's alive. Step into the stretch, and you'll expand. You feel angry and think, I am angry. Or you're sad and believe it defines you. This trap, over-identifying with your emotions, fuses you with fleeting feelings. Emotions are signals, not your identity. Psychologically, mindfulness research shows labeling emotions, like I'm feeling sad instead of I'm sad, creates distance, reducing their grip. If you're anxious before a speech, say, I'm noticing anxiety, and it's easier to move through. Try this. When a strong emotion hits, name it as a feeling, not a fact. I'm experiencing frustration. Then take one calming step, like a deep breath. Ask, what's this feeling telling me? You're not your emotions. You're the one who feels them. You meet someone new and want to click right away, like in a movie. When it's awkward, you write them off. This trap, expecting instant connection, ignores how relationships deepen over time. Real bonds grow slowly, not on cue. Psychologically, connection builds through shared experiences, as social bonding studies show. A new coworker might seem distant, but warm up over coffee chats. Try this. Give a new relationship 3 interactions before judging it. In your next talk, ask one open question, like, what's something you're excited about? Ask, what could grow here with time? Connection isn't a spark. It's a fire you tend. You want to start a project but say, I don't have time, or the timing's off. This trap, blaming circumstances for inaction, shifts responsibility to external factors. While life's constraints are real, they're often not the full story. Psychologically, locus of control research shows that focusing on what you can influence boosts agency. If you're too busy to write a book, try 1 paragraph a week. Try this. For a goal you've delayed, list 1 small action you can take despite obstacles, like reading 1 article. Ask, what's in my control right now? Circumstances shape the path, but you choose the steps. You mess up a presentation and think, I'm terrible at public speaking. This trap, overgeneralizing from 1 failure, paints a single stumble as a permanent flaw. 1 misstep doesn't define your ability. Psychologically, this is cognitive distortion, as studied in CBT, where 1 event gets blown into a pattern. A bad date doesn't mean you're unlovable. It means one didn't work. Try this. After a failure, list 3 things that went well, like, I prepared thoroughly. Then plan 1 improvement, like practicing pacing. Ask, what's 1 thing I can tweak next time? Failures are data points, not destinies. Use them to grow. You say yes to every favor, even when it burns you out, hoping it'll make people value you. This trap, seeking approval through sacrifice, trades your well-being for others' nods. True respect doesn't come from overgiving. Psychologically, self-sacrifice can erode boundaries, as studies on assertiveness show. Saying no to a colleague's last-minute task doesn't make you selfish. It protects your energy. Try this. Decline one request this week with a kind, "I'm stretched thin, but thanks for asking." Ask, "Am I saying yes for me or for approval?" Your value isn't in what you give up. It's in who you are. You hesitate to move cities or end a stale friendship, worried about what you'll lose. This trap, fearing change as loss, focuses on what's left behind instead of what's gained. Change isn't just subtraction, it's addition too. Psychologically, loss aversion makes us cling to the familiar, as behavioral research shows. Moving might cost old routines, but gain new connections. Try this. For a change you're avoiding, list one potential gain, like a new job could bring fresh challenges. Take one small step, like updating your LinkedIn. Ask, what could this open up? Change isn't a door closing, it's a new one opening. You brush off compliments thinking, anyone could do that, or downplay your skills. This trap, dismissing your own strengths, shrinks your confidence. Your unique abilities aren't accidents, they're yours to own. Psychologically, self-deprecation can stem from imposter syndrome, as studies show, undermining motivation. If you're great at organizing, don't say, "It's no big deal." Try this. When someone praises you, say, "Thank you, I worked hard on that." List 3 strengths, like, "I'm reliable," and one way to use them, like leading a project. Ask, what do I bring that's unique? Your strengths aren't ordinary. They're your superpower, assuming everyone shares your values. You expect a friend to prioritize honesty because you do, but they dodge the truth. This trap, assuming everyone shares your values, sets you up for disappointment. People's priorities aren't always yours, and that's okay. Psychologically, this is projection bias, where you assume others think like you, as social psychology shows. If punctuality is your value, but a colleague is always late, don't take it personally. They might value flexibility. Try this. When someone's actions frustrate you, ask, what might their values be? Adjust expectations, like scheduling earlier. Differences aren't betrayals, they're perspectives. Respect theirs, and you'll connect better. You see yourself as the shy kid from school, even though you've grown confident. This trap, holding on to outdated self-images, keeps you stuck in an old version of yourself. You're not fixed, you're evolving. Psychologically, self-concept lag can limit growth, as identity research shows. If you avoid leadership roles because you aren't a leader, you might miss your potential. Try this. Identify one outdated self-label, like, "I'm not creative." Challenge it with one action, like trying a drawing class. Ask, who am I becoming? Your self-image isn't set in stone. It's a canvas you repaint. A mentor suggests improving your writing, and you feel dismissed. This trap, confusing feedback with rejection, mistakes guidance for judgment. Feedback isn't a personal attack, it's a chance to grow. Psychologically, this stems from fear of failure, as studies on growth mindset show. A coach correcting your form isn't saying you're bad, they're helping you improve. Try this. When you get feedback, reframe it as a gift. Write down one actionable tip, like, use clearer examples. Ask, how can this make me better? Feedback isn't a stop sign, it's a roadmap. You're upset when a friend is warm one day and distant the next. This trap, expecting everyone to be consistent, ignores human complexity. People's moods and circumstances shift, just like yours. Psychologically, we crave predictability, but emotional variability is normal, as psychology research shows. If a coworker snaps under stress, it's not about you. Try this. When someone's inconsistent, ask, what might they be going through? Offer grace like, you seem off, need to talk? Consistency is a myth. People are dynamic, not robots. You say sorry for every little thing, even when it's not your fault, like bumping into someone. This trap, overloading apologies with guilt, cheapens your accountability. Apologies should be meaningful, not reflex. Psychologically, over-apologizing can signal low self-worth, as assertiveness studies show. Saying sorry for existing takes up space better used for connection. Try this. Before apologizing, ask, did I actually cause harm? If not, say, thanks for your patience instead. True apologies carry weight. Use them wisely. You delay a big decision, like moving in with a partner, until every doubt is gone. This trap, seeking clarity before commitment, assumes total certainty is possible. Most choices involve some fog. Psychologically, decision-making research shows that clarity often comes after action, not before. Committing to a small step, like a weekend together, reveals more than endless debate. Try this. For a big choice, take one small action, like discussing expectations. Ask, what's one thing I can test? Commitment creates clarity. Jump in to find it. You take a friend's harsh opinion, like you're too sensitive, as truth. This trap, treating opinions as facts, lets subjective views define your reality. Opinions are lenses, not laws. Psychologically, this is authority bias, where we overvalue others' views, as persuasion research shows. If a boss calls your work sloppy, check the facts. Maybe it's thorough, but long. Try this. When you hear an opinion, ask, what evidence supports this? If it's shaky, trust your own data. Opinions are guesses. Anchor yourself in what's real. You don't ask for clarification in a meeting, worried it'll make you seem clueless. This trap, avoiding questions for fear of looking weak, blocks understanding. Questions show curiosity, not incompetence. Psychologically, fear of judgment stifles learning, as educational research shows. Asking, can you explain that term? Signals engagement, not weakness. Try this. Ask one question this week you've been holding back, like, what does that acronym mean? Notice the response. Most people appreciate it. Questions aren't flaws. They're bridges to clarity. You help a friend move, expecting they'll return the favor someday. This trap, expecting reciprocity in kindness, turns generosity into a transaction. True kindness doesn't keep score. Psychologically, expectation-driven kindness can breed resentment, as social exchange theory shows. Helping without strings, like offering a ride, feels freer. Try this. Do one kind act without expecting anything, like sending a thoughtful text. Ask, am I giving to give or to get? Kindness is its own reward. Let it flow. You stay in a draining relationship because they promise to change. This trap, overvaluing future promises, bets on potential over reality. Promises are hopes, not results. Psychologically, optimism bias makes us overestimate future change, as behavioral research shows. If a partner keeps breaking promises, focus on their actions, not words. Try this. When someone promises change, track one behavior for a week, like punctuality. Ask, are they following through? Promises are air. Actions are ground. You trust someone because they feel familiar, like a charming coworker. This trap, confusing familiarity with trust, overlooks their actual reliability. Familiarity is a vibe, not a guarantee. Psychologically, the mere exposure effect makes familiar people seem trustworthy, as social psychology shows. But trust requires evidence, like consistent honesty. Try this. Before trusting someone familiar, look for one reliable action, like keeping a promise. Ask, have they earned my trust? Familiarity feels good. Trust runs deeper. You skip a workout or a quiet evening, feeling guilty for indulging. This trap, treating self-care as selfish, devalues your well-being. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish, it's essential. Psychologically, self-care boosts resilience, as burnout studies show. A 10-minute walk can recharge you for others. Try this. Schedule one self-care act daily, like reading for 15 minutes. Ask, how does this help me show up better? Self-care isn't a luxury. It's the foundation of a strong life. You post a photo online, refreshing for likes, or tweak your work to please a boss. This trap, chasing external validation over self-trust, makes others' approval your compass. Their opinions can guide, but your inner voice should lead. Psychologically, over-relying on external feedback erodes self-efficacy, as studies on self-determination show. A colleague's praise feels good, but trusting your own judgment, like knowing your report is solid, grounds you. Try this. When seeking approval, pause and ask, do I believe in this? Write down one reason you trust your choice, like, I prepared thoroughly. Validation from others is a bonus, not your worth. Trust yourself first. You stick to the same daily grind, thinking it keeps life steady. This trap, confusing routine with stability, mistakes repetition for security. Routines can anchor you, but clinging to them can block growth. Psychologically, rigid routines can mask fear of change, as habit research shows. If you always eat the same lunch, trying a new dish might spark joy. Try this. Tweak one routine this week, like taking a new route to work. Ask, what could this shake up? Notice how it feels. Stability isn't sameness. It's your ability to adapt while staying grounded. You feel lonely and expect a friend to cheer you up or a partner to fix your stress. This trap, expecting others to fill your gaps, hands your emotional work to someone else. No one can complete you. You're already whole. Psychologically, self-reliance boosts resilience, as emotional regulation studies show. If you're feeling low, journaling or a walk might help more than waiting for a call. Try this. When you want someone to fix your mood, do one self-soothing act, like listening to music. Ask, what can I do for myself? Others can support you, but your peace starts within. You plan to help a friend, expecting they'll be grateful or change their ways. This trap, overloading intentions with expectations, taints your kindness. Good intentions should be free, not tied to outcomes. Psychologically, expectation-driven actions create disappointment, as altruism research shows. Helping a coworker without expecting a favor back feels lighter. Try this. Do one kind act, like sharing notes, with no strings attached. Ask, am I giving freely? Intentions shine when they're pure. Let them stand alone. You've known someone forever, so you assume you're close, even if you rarely talk deeply. This trap, mistaking familiarity for intimacy, confuses history with connection. Time together doesn't always mean emotional closeness. Psychologically, intimacy requires vulnerability, as relationship studies show. A childhood friend might not know your current struggles unless you share. Try this. With a familiar person, ask one deeper question, like, what's been tough for you lately? Notice the shift. Ask, are we truly connected? Intimacy isn't years, it's openness. You stay in a dead-end job or relationship, dreading the hurt of letting go. This trap, avoiding endings for fear of pain, prolongs suffering. Endings can hurt, but they also make space for new beginnings. Psychologically, fear of loss delays growth, as transition research shows. Quitting a draining hobby might sting but free you for one you love. Try this. For something you're holding on to, list one benefit of letting go, like, I'll have more time. Take one step, like declining a commitment. Ask, what could open up? Endings aren't failures. They're doors to what's next. You try a new skill, like coding, and feel discouraged when you don't master it fast. This trap, judging effort by immediate results, overlooks the slow build of progress. Effort plants seeds, not instant harvests. Psychologically, outcome bias undervalues process, as learning studies show. A musician doesn't nail a song in one go. Practice builds mastery. Try this. For a new effort, track one small win, like, I wrote one line of code. Ask, what did I gain from trying? Effort is the root. Results grow with time. You don't ask a friend to join a project thinking they're too busy. This trap, assuming you know others' limits, underestimates their capacity. You're not their gatekeeper. They are. Psychologically, this is projection, where you impose your assumptions, as social psychology shows. A colleague might surprise you by saying yes to a challenge. Try this. Before assuming someone's limits, ask, would you be up for this? Let them decide. Ask, am I deciding for them? People's potential is theirs to define. Don't box them in. You replay a decision, like choosing a vacation spot, analyzing every angle to avoid mistakes. This trap, seeking certainty through overthinking, paralyzes you. No amount of thought eliminates all risk. Psychologically, overthinking fuels anxiety, as cognitive research shows. Booking a trip and adjusting as you go beats endless research. Try this. For a decision, set a 10-minute timer to weigh options, then act. Ask, what's good enough for now? Action cuts through the fog. Overthinking just thickens it. You chase a fiery hobby or job thinking it's your calling, only to burn out. This trap, confusing passion with purpose, mistakes intensity for meaning. Passion is fleeting, purpose endures. Psychologically, purpose aligns with values, not just excitement, as well-being studies show. A passionate artist might find purpose in teaching, not just creating. Try this. List one value, like helping others, and one way to live it, like volunteering. Ask, does this feel meaningful? Passion lights the spark. Purpose keeps the flame. You read about someone's meteoric rise and feel you're failing. This trap, overvaluing others' success stories, ignores their struggles and your unique path. Their highlight reel isn't your roadmap. Psychologically, narrative bias makes us romanticize others' journeys, as media studies show. A CEO's overnight success likely took years of grind. Try this. When you envy someone's story, focus on one step you can take, like learning a skill they used. Ask, what's my next move? Their story is theirs. Yours is still being written. You dodge critique, fearing it'll hurt, like skipping a review at work. This trap, avoiding feedback to protect feelings, blocks growth. Feedback, even tough, is a tool, not a takedown. Psychologically, avoiding feedback limits self-awareness, as growth mindset research shows. A writer who skips edits misses chances to improve. Try this. Ask for one piece of specific feedback, like, how can my emails be clearer? Act on it. Ask, what can this teach me? Feedback isn't personal. It's progress. You stress when work overwhelms family time, thinking every day should feel balanced. This trap, expecting balance in every moment, ignores life's natural ebb and flow. Balance is a rhythm, not a snapshot. Psychologically, well-being comes from long-term alignment, as work-life studies show. A busy week might tip toward work, but a quiet weekend evens it out. Try this. Plan one balancing act weekly, like a device-free evening. Ask, am I trending toward balance? Life sways. Find the rhythm, not the freeze frame. You cling to anger over a slight, like a friend's careless remark, thinking it holds them accountable. This trap, holding on to grievances for justice, hurts you more than them. Grudges don't right wrongs. They anchor you in pain. Psychologically, forgiveness reduces stress, as health psychology shows. Letting go of a coworker's snub doesn't excuse them. It frees you. Try this. Write down a grievance, then one way to release it, like focusing on a new goal. Ask, is this worth my energy? Justice isn't in holding tight. It's in moving on. You push until you're drained, thinking hard work means burning out. This trap, confusing effort with exhaustion, equates struggle with progress. Effort should challenge, not destroy. Psychologically, sustainable effort boosts performance, as productivity studies show. A student studying smarter for 2 hours outperforms one cramming all night. Try this. For a task, set a focused 90-minute block, then rest. Ask, am I working smart or just hard? Effort is a sprint, not a collapse. Pace yourself. You jump to fix a friend's problem, unasked, thinking they need you. This trap, assuming everyone needs your help, oversteps boundaries. People often need space to solve their own issues. Psychologically, unsolicited help can undermine autonomy, as social support research shows. A struggling colleague might want a listener, not a savior. Try this. Before helping, ask, would you like my input? If no, step back. Ask, am I helping or controlling? Help is a gift. Offer it, don't impose it. You demand a talk with someone who hurt you, thinking it'll resolve everything. This trap, seeking closure through confrontation, assumes others can heal your wounds. Closure often comes from within. Psychologically, internal processing heals more than external fixes, as trauma research shows. If a friend betrayed you, journaling might clarify more than a showdown. Try this. Instead of confronting, write your feelings and one step to move forward, like reconnecting with others. Ask, what can I do for myself? Closure isn't their apology. It's your peace. You chase a fancy job title, thinking it defines your worth. This trap, overvaluing titles over impact, prioritizes status over substance. What you do matters more than what you're called. Psychologically, intrinsic motivation drives fulfillment, as self-determination theory shows. A teacher changing lives has more impact than a title-heavy desk job. Try this. Focus on one meaningful contribution, like mentoring a colleague, over chasing a label. Ask, what difference am I making? Titles fade. Impact lasts. You're fast at work, so you get frustrated when a teammate moves slower. This trap, expecting others to match your pace, ignores their unique rhythm. People work differently, and that's not a flaw. Psychologically, diverse work styles enhance teams, as collaboration research shows. A slow colleague might be thorough where you're quick. Try this. When frustrated, ask, what's their strength? Adjust, like giving them more lead time. Ask, how can we sync better? Paces vary. Harmony comes from blending them. You ask a question, like, why did you choose that? And worry it sounds judgmental. This trap, confusing curiosity with criticism, stifles genuine interest. Questions can connect, not condemn. Psychologically, curiosity builds understanding, as communication studies show. Asking a friend about their career shift with genuine interest invites openness. Try this. Ask one curious question this week, like, what inspired that decision? Clarify, I'm just interested. Ask, am I seeking to learn? Curiosity isn't attack. It's a bridge. You feel bad about a past mistake, like snapping at a friend, and think guilt will make you better. This trap, holding on to guilt for growth, mistakes pain for progress. Guilt signals a lesson, not a life sentence. Psychologically, excessive guilt hinders growth, as self-compassion research shows. Apologizing and changing behavior beats dwelling. Try this. For a guilt, write one lesson, like, I'll listen better, and one action, like checking in. Ask, have I learned and moved on? Guilt points the way. Don't live there. You want every interaction with a partner or friend to feel flawless. This trap, seeking perfection in relationships, sets impossible standards. Relationships thrive on messiness, not ideals. Psychologically, healthy bonds embrace flaws, as attachment research shows. A good friend doesn't need to agree always. Just show up. Try this. Appreciate one imperfect moment, like a friend's quirky rant. Ask, does this strengthen us? Perfection is a myth. Real connections are beautifully flawed. You think, this is just who I am, and stop pushing yourself. This trap, assuming you're done growing, limits your potential. Growth doesn't have an end point. You're always evolving. Psychologically, a fixed mindset stalls progress, as Carol Dweck's research shows. Learning a new skill, like cooking, at any age proves you're not static. Try this. Pick one new thing to try, like a podcast on a new topic. Ask, what can I still learn? You're not finished. You're unfolding. A friend's quiet moment feels like anger or distance, so you fill it with worry. This trap, overloading silence with meaning, reads too much into pauses. Silence can just be space, not a signal. Psychologically, we misinterpret silence due to ambiguity aversion, as social research shows. A quiet coworker might just be thinking, try this. When silence feels heavy, ask, everything okay? Or let it be. Ask, am I adding a story to this? Silence is neutral. Don't write a script for it. You face a setback and doubt you'll bounce back, forgetting past triumphs. This trap, forgetting your own resilience, underestimates your strength. You've overcome before, and you will again. Psychologically, resilience builds from recalling past successes, as positive psychology shows. Losing a job stings, but you've navigated tough times before. Try this. List 3 challenges you've overcome, like, I moved cities and thrived. Take one step, like updating your resume. Ask, what have I survived? You're tougher than you think. Your story proves it.